What's up YouTube, Matt here. So we are back for the early lists, but we're doing it a bit differently this time. For those who didn't catch it at the start of Wednesday's video, or the end of Wednesday's video, sorry I should say, I did say that I was actually going to be going more in depth with the early lists, because I noticed that as they're introducing more and more lines, I'm not actually getting to give them as much detail as I'd like to give them. So what I'm going to be doing from now on is I'm actually going to be splitting them up into 3 videos and doing proper in-depth discussions on 3 lines at a time. And I'm going to be doing this for the main sets as well, not just the lyrical sets, because I'd rather properly explain and people know what to expect from the new lines, because these are going to be coming up for the BCS season, because the later ones, France and onwards, do actually cover Lyrical 3, so I do feel that having proper explanations for the new stuff so people don't get caught off guard is a very useful thing to have. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the format of new line, old line, new line within the episode, and I'm going to do the decks in there for the new lines are going to be the ones that were from Monday's video. So I'm going to discuss the 2 lines from Monday's video from this week, which was Lilfa and Kyouka. And I'm then going to cover the old line of Herminia, who did get a nice bit of support in this set as well. So we're going to start off with the one I actually know the most about out of the 3, which is Lilfa. And Lilfa's skill, which will be appearing up, her as a card will be appearing up here, does have the skill of Soul Blast 1 to give all your grade 2 units the ability to boost. 2 and above units, so grade 2s, grade 3s can all boost for the rest of the turn. And then she's got the second skill of, at the end of the battle that she attacks, you can count blast 1, return a front row and rear guard unit back to your hand, to then choose a grade 3 card from your hand and then call it to the rear guard circle. So obviously this is a nice little bit of multi-attack for the deck. You're comboing off by giving your grade 3s the ability to boost, which, when you've got some solid grade 3s in the deck, it can actually be really nice. So sort of Bastion-esque. But it's got Dark Strain built into the Vanguard, and only for the cost of a Soul Blast 1. Plus also the fact that it's adapting to include grade 2s as well, so you do actually get some shield power of the deck. And you aren't relying on grade 3s to restand your units, or you're not forced to be just grade 3 only, so really interesting. Especially when you can grab grade 3s like this one here, Persis. Now, Persis has got the skill of, when this unit is placed on rearguard circle, if you have a Vanguard with Lilfa in its card name, you can Soul Charge 1, and this unit gets power plus 2,000 at end of turn, so it becomes a 15k attacker. So, really nice strong power. 15k boost is really good, and the fact that the Soul Charge on top pays for Lilfa's Soul Blast for the turn to give itself the boost. Plus, you can then recycle it back to your hand again to play down again next turn to get the next Soul Charge. So having a consistent Soul Charge every single turn is really strong for the deck. Combining that obviously with the other triple rare the deck got, in the forms of Strayed, who's got the skill of, when she's placed on the rearguard circle from your hand, if you've got a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Lilfa in its name, until the end of the turn this unit gets 5,000 power. And then if it's placed during your main phase, you can Soul Blast 2 to draw a card. So obviously on play, Soul Blast 2 draw cards very strong. And the fact of obviously you can bounce it back to hand again and then place it down again next turn in your main phase to have that recurring draw is really nice. But then having the Soul Charge 1 on top to help fund that cost, the deck has some nice little bit of power behind it. Obviously you can see here you don't have much Counter Blast issue, which is a really solid part, so you can include extra skills to obtain that, utilise that Counter Blast. But all in all, really solid deck. I'm going to move on to an example list I have now made here, which is the one you shall see right now. And you can see here, I've gone a little bit different with the list, I think is the fairest way to say. I did get the original idea from someone on the Japanese side, from the Twitters. And they were utilising the Michu grade 1 and Lorinol grade 2 to guarantee orders in the order zone straight from deck, compressing your deck from the get-go, and then using Elma to become a massive shield in the deck. Because obviously Elma gains 5,000 power for every card in your deck, every card in your order zone. So just from riding up from 0 to 3, Elma's becoming a 15k shield. Obviously, we've got both the grade 2 orders in the deck, so obviously you can utilise whichever one you want based on whether you went first or second for the ride-up. But then you can still play the other one down from hand. So you're still getting the Summers 5k to the Vanguard when placed, and you're still getting the Madder Red Runways on place draw card. We've also got the Cannibals in here as well, because obviously we're using the grade 1 Michu. The grade 1's guaranteed to be got out of deck, but with her skill only being available to a Michu Vanguard, you only get one use of the rest soul charge to call a Cannibal from hand. But that one soul charge is still very utilizable, and if you still even get the Cannibal grade 3 in your hand, in your opening hand, you can place that down automatically for free and get a free draw out of it, because obviously the Cannibal's got two effects, so one being Michu locked, but the other one is when this card is placed in the order zone, you draw a card. So having it as an on-place, Cat Blast got the cost of Cat Blast 1, which obviously you skip if you play it via the grade 1 Cannibal order. But Cat Blast 1, draw a card to help build up your shields for Elmer as well is a very solid thing. But obviously with utilising these Cannibals, we have got other ways to utilise it as well. Like we've got the grade 3 in the top row that says the gains 5k if you've got an order, and then if you put a Cannibal order from your when she attacks, you have ready to go, which is the grade 3 order in your order zone. She gains 5k, that's some power. In addition, you can put a set order from your drop zone to the bottom of your deck, and she'll gain another 5,000 power. This doesn't have to just be the Cannibal order though for you to put into the bottom deck, because you can still put your Madder Red Runway, you can put your Sunset order. I can't remember the name of that one. It's not used in long roll, so I didn't get around to remembering it. But those still can be returned to the bottom deck as well. It doesn't have a restriction behind it, so it's very solid. 23k attacker potential, and the fact of it's also the fact of you can utilise bouncing it back to hand and calling it back down again. The other special bit of support Lilfa got was obviously her double rare, grade 2, who's got the skill of when a unit is returned to your hand by your Vanguard's cost, you can Cat Blast 1 and put this into your soul to choose one grade, draw a card, then choose a grade 3 from your hand and call it to an open rearguard circle. So you can either utilise this to get a booster behind your grade 3 you just called, or you can put this into soul to then call a grade 3 to this card circle if this was in the front row, and you're then gaining 5 attacks a turn. So increases the potential of the deck. You're building up your soul a bit further for the fact of she moves herself to soul, which can then pay for your Soul Blast 2 draw card. So all in all, yes, it's piece reliant, but with the compression that comes within it and the draw power the deck has, it all flows together really nicely. All in all, this has been one of my favourite decks for testing at the moment. I didn't think I was going to like it from the get-go, but the more I tested it, the more I actually started to enjoy the deck. So I do feel that we may see some presence from this, but interesting to see how it actually holds up once we actually get into the full testing. Moving on next, we do have Herminia. So obviously, for those that didn't see, Herminia came out in set 2. Herminia has the skill of Cat Blast 1 plus 5k to the Vanguard circle. Okay, but the second skill is what really makes her shine. At the end of the battle that she attacks, if you've got no face-up cards in your damage zone, and you've got no soul, you can discard a card from your hand to choose one of your powerful rear guards, powerful being a keyword, and then stand it. And then the next counterblast you would pay this turn is reduced by 1. So obviously this is really nice for the fact of obviously you're making it your deck 4 attacks for having used all your Cat Blast and Soul Blast. Now the ride line itself drains its soul naturally and then gets 3 rides up because you've drained your soul. The only soul you do have to drain is on your grade 2 turn. But when you've got multiple cards like Signa that can actually help drain your soul, it is not that hard to actually perform. Then the other little bit of support that she got in this set was obviously her new grade 2, which has the skill of, once per turn, you can Soul Blast one, choose one of your Vanguards, it gets power plus 5,000 power. So obviously helps set up your ability to activate your powerful. If you say Persona Road that turn, you can then get your free Soul Charge out, your Soul Blast out of it to get you back down to your 0 Soul. But what really makes her good is her second effect. Her second effect is powerful, also Rearguard Circle. When you attack your Vanguard, if the number of cards in your soul is 0, you can counterblast a turn. During that turn, this unit gets 10,000 power. Then, if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Herminia in its card name, during that battle, this unit performs drive checks. So the 10,000 power is a end of turn thing. Fair enough, counterblast 2, 10k 1,000 power itself isn't that strong. But the fact that you're going to get the drive check on top to apply pressure is really good. But then if you combine this with, say for example, Herminia's Restand, you then turn this Counterblast 2 into a Counterblast 1 for the second attack. But you're then thinking to yourself, well, how are you going to have Counterblast when you need to have no Counterblast for Herminia's skill? And that's where the other bit of support that Herminia got this set in Quietly Ambush Muster comes in effect. She's got the skill of also Rearguard Circle, powerful. When this unit boosts a grade 3 or higher Vanguard with Herminia in its card name, if the number of cards in your soul is 0, turn, the power of all your front row units get power plus 2,000. And then at the end of this battle, you can put this unit to the bottom of your deck to then countercharge 1. So this is the resource regeneration deck was very much wanting. Because normally it was you had to spam your counterblast to make sure you had nothing. But if they rushed you, you then were stuck doing nothing for the rest of the game. Musa then turns that on your head, because you're then refunding your counterblasts ready for either your next turn or for, as we said, getting additional skills off, like re-raise, Counterblast 2 to get the drive check, which then gets refunded back down to 1, alongside this counter charge, means you can technically get 4 drives a turn, which is very strong for the deck. Plus the fact that the 2,000 power actually does make numbers, because 2,000 to the Vanguard Herminia makes it 15, plus this 8 makes it 23 Vanguard column. Persona Ride 33, if you use Herminia's Counterblast 1, 38. Really nice numbers. But it's not just the Vanguard that can gain from this. The Terror Sigma columns that we've all used since set 2, given that the 2,000 power makes that 23, 33 on Persona Ride. If you've used either of their skills, 38. If you use Boast, 43. It does create a very good scaling numbers for the deck, and it's just so strong out the get-go. So, example list I've got here for Herminia is, the majority of this will still be the same to everyone that's played the deck. So from the get-go, we've got Nala for the extra call-out of Soul on the grade 2 turn, because obviously you can call out your Laranji on your grade 2 turn to make you 0 Soul ready for riding up for free, and just having that extra bit of filter on the board. We've also got, as I said, Terra Signa, both well-known units. Terra's being the on-hit pressure of draw a card, Signa being the restanding booster. Both really strong cards. We have got one additional card in here, which is from the new set, just for the fact of it being a slot filler, and it's when your Vanguard when this unit attacks, you've got 0 soul against 5,000 power. Nice, simple, powerful attacker, but it's still really solid for the deck. All in all, this did give Herminia a very nice buff to the deck, and can't wait to see what it actually does down the line. And we are now moving on to the final deck, which is Kyouka. So Kyouka's got 2 skills. First one being, you can act Vanguard Circle once a turn, you can Soul Blast 1, and declare a grade from 1 to 3. You look at the top 5 cards of your deck, choose up to 1 unit card with a declared grade from amongst them, and call to Rearguard Circle. Or you can choose up to 1 magazine card from your deck, reveal it to your opponent, put it into your hand, and shuffle your deck. And then during your turn, if you played magazine order this turn, your front row gains 5k. So really nice, the fact of you can obviously search for your specific pieces that you're wanting. You also got the fact of gaining 5k to the front row for playing the magazine order, which we might as well discuss now, because obviously people know what the magazine order actually is. And that's Lyrical Shooting Star S. So Lyrical Shooting Star S has got only played if your Vanguard's Kyouka. And then depending on the number of unit grades you have, you can do all of the following. If you've got 2 or more grade 1 cards, you can draw 2 cards, choose a card from your hand and discard it. If you've got 2 or more grade 2 cards, you can choose one of your units and it gets power plus 10,000 to end of turn. And if you've got 2 or more grade 3 cards, you get to countercharge 1. So obviously utility based on the number of units you've got on the board is a very strong card. And the fact that obviously you can manipulate what you've actually got on board due to Kyouka's skill, because you can declare what you're looking for and then find it, call it, and help build up your Lyrical Shooting Stars. But if you don't find what you want and you find a shooting star, you can still grab that instead with Kyouka, which is really solid. But then you'd be thinking to yourself, but it's still lottery at that point. How can we guarantee what we actually want off our top decks? Well, that's where the other little bit of support that we got this set for Kyouka actually comes in the forms of Best Choice Loudmare. Loudmare's got the skill of at Rearguard Circle. If you have grade 3 or higher Vanguard with Kyouka in its card name, you can put this unit into your soul, and then choose a card from your drop zone that's grade 2 or higher that's got a different name to your Vanguard, and then place it on top of your deck. So obviously you're then fixing your deck to guarantee that Kyouka will get exactly what you want. And the fact of she puts herself to soul actually funds Kyouka's Soul Blast 1. So it's literally a free check, which is very solid. So example list I've gone for here is something I saw Zenarion play around with, which I will link him down below, because I did actually really enjoy what he was doing with the deck. And as you can see here, we've got a basic Kyouka ride line, but what we've actually gone for, which is more interesting, is the grade 3 from set 1. So obviously the grade 3 we've got here from set 1 has the ability of, when this unit is placed on Rearguard Circle from anywhere that's not your hand, during the turn that this unit attacks, when your opponent calls cards from their hand to the Guardian Circle, they've got to call 2 or more cards. So it's a battle door for the deck. Which if you then apply on the fact of, you can give Lyrical Shooting Stars plus 10k to it. Persona Ride, that's 33. That alone, 33, is massive numbers. It's forcing 2 triggers at a trigger and something else. Adding on any other triggers you get to it, adding on a booster, you can add really big numbers to it very quickly. We have also got ways in the deck to bypass not actually having... We've only got 4 orders, and that is in the form of the new double rare Jennifer. Now, Jennifer's got the skill of act Rearguard Circle once a turn. Oops, 1 second, my translate didn't pop on. Translate page, there we go. So you have an act Rearguard Circle once a turn. If you have 4 or more units, you can discard a card from your hand to choose a normal order from your drop zone. And during that turn, this card can be played from the drop zone. And when it's played and put into the drop zone, put this on the bottom of your deck instead. So obviously it lets us grab the Lyrical Shooting Star from our drop zone, puts it to the order zone, activates the effect, and then puts it back to deck again, which we can then, obviously with us reshuffling a bit, we can then get Lyrical Shooting Star back out of the deck again with Kyouka. So extra usage of the order is very solid. Yes, it has got discard a card, but the fact of if you've got 2 grade 1s, you're getting a draw 2, ditch 1. It doesn't matter too hard if you've got the grade 1s in the board, so it can actually play very nicely. But you might think of that, well, it's all just 3 attack decks at this point. Where's the potential behind it? But there is the one triple rare that we haven't covered yet, and that is in the form of Arch. Now, Arch has got 2 skills. First one being, during your turn, if you played a magazine order, this gets power plus 5,000. So this 5,000 stacked on top of Kyouka's 5,000 makes her a 20k attacker. Very good. But then you've got the additional skill of also Rearguard Circle once a turn. At the end of the battle, which your grade 3 or higher Vanguard attacked, if you played a magazine order this turn, you can Counter Blast 1 and Soul Blast 1 to then restand Arch. So she's a restanding unit. So 4 attacks within the deck, very solid. Say, for example, you gave her the magazine's 10,000 power, because you've got 2 units, 2 grade 2s on the board. You're swinging in 30k, Vanguard swings, she's then restanding, swinging in 30k, boosted by an AK 38k. Very big numbers to deal with. Not to count the fact of, on top of that, you've still not got Persona Ride on top of that as well. So you can create very big numbers with this deck very quickly. And the fact that you've got consistency in the deck as well. We've added in Melty just to add that extra little bit of consistency because the Counter Blast 1 draw card. Call a card, draw card, sorry. It's just so flexible, the deck, and it looks so much fun to play around with. But that is going to be it for this video. I will leave deck logs down below for the ones I've actually discussed, along with Zen, as I said, Zen's Twitter, because he did help me with the Kyouka list. And if you haven't done so already, please do like, comment, subscribe. It very much does help the channel. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye bye!